Thank you very much, President Jackson. This is truly a very, very high honor to the RPI class of 2018. Congratulations, you made it. Great things really do lie ahead of every one of you. But first, you must go through commencement, and part of that is listening to commencement speakers like me. I will try to be brief. I will start my remarks with a dose of humility that originated with former Governor Mario Cuomo, who said, commencement speakers should think of themselves as the body at an old-fashioned wake. They need you to have the party, but nobody really expects you to say very much. So with that humbling beginning admonition in mind, I will try to avoid self-important pronouncements and instead offer you a few modest nuggets of wisdom from examples of the lives of others I have admired and maybe tell you a little bit about why. As you've heard, I am a lawyer, not always the most beloved profession. And I'm in the midst, I recognize, of engineers, Nobel Prize winners for science, renowned researchers, and computer geniuses. But bear with me, my first nugget of wisdom does come from the lives of 3 young lawyers. The first one lost his first criminal case and saw his client executed. The second lost a large civil judgment and nearly saw his client forced into bankruptcy. The third young lawyer was himself and tried and convicted of treason. The names of these 3 young lawyers: Abraham Lincoln, Mahatma Gandhi, and Nelson Mandela. Now, the nugget of wisdom from their lives is clear. None of us always wins. We will all get frustrated, even heartbroken, as we go through life, personal and professional. All 3 of these young lawyers obviously went on to greatness to lead their nations. But they did not start that way, and their road was hard. They were tested again and again. You will be too. But if you work hard and keep your sense of purpose and optimism, you will be able to meet your challenges, overcome barriers, and succeed. As the Nike trademark says, just do it. To the women graduates, you will likely face an extra barrier or two because you are women. We are working hard on that to make it not so. But let's be realistic in 2018, there are still miles to go. But there are also great life examples for us of women pursuing their dreams and succeeding despite the barriers. Sandra Day O'Connor was the first woman to serve on the United States Supreme Court, but it wasn't easy getting there. When she graduated from Stanford Law School in 1952, third in her class and member of the prestigious Stanford Law Review, the only job she could get was as a legal secretary. But she persevered, and she got to the very top of her profession. More recently, after being rejected by the Air Force for its elite fighter pilot program, a young college graduate went on to become the first woman Navy fighter pilot. Her name, Tammy Jo Schultz, who happened to be the pilot of the Southwest Flight 1380 flying from LaGuardia to Dallas, Texas, on April 17, 2018. Shortly after takeoff, as you know, the flight suffered a major in-flight emergency when the left engine exploded and broke a window in the plane. Captain Schultz heroically and skillfully flew and landed the damaged plane safely in Philadelphia with 149 on board. It is really good that the Navy had the wisdom to let Tammy Jo Schultz persevere to acquire the skills and nerves of steel that saved so many lives just a month ago. Once again, the message of these women's lives: just do it. My second nugget of wisdom I'll do without examples because it's so fundamental and it comes up so often for all of us. Always do the right thing. Sometimes you will be pressured to do the opposite or be tempted to take the easier path. In every profession and in everyday life, your greatest asset will always be your integrity. Never compromise that even once. My final nugget of wisdom has something to do with age, mine and yours in the class of 2018. As for me, I turned 70 this year, but I'm still practicing law 24/7. But I do acknowledge that 70 is a pretty shocking number. That's an age I remember my parents once were, and I really thought it was really, really, really old then. Not now. 70 gets younger every year. Now, I know you can't relate to that now, but you will, I guarantee you. Or to use the phrase of another famous 71-year-old who shall remain nameless, believe me, believe me. There's actually a very important point here. You, the class of 2018, have come of age in a world that is badly in need of the spirit, energy, and creativity of adults who remain forever young. Now, Forever Young is the title of a 1980s ballad sung by the still touring, I think over 70, Rod Stewart, one of my favorite aging rock stars. Now, Forever Young to me means you stay bold, curious, and open to all of life's and the world's challenges, but also to its joys and just the pure fun of things. You avoid ruts, you take chances, you make changes throughout your lives, and you do new and difficult things. Most importantly, staying forever young means keeping your idealism and following your passions. Now, I promised examples. For this one, my example is John Glenn, the astronaut and former US Senator, who in 1962 climbed into his Friendship 7 Mercury spacecraft, lifted off on an Atlas rocket, and became the first American to orbit the Earth and an instant national hero. But he didn't rest on his laurels. In 1974, he was elected to the US Senate, where he served with distinction for over 25 years. But he wasn't satisfied with that either. In 1998, at the tender age of 77, much older than 70, John Glenn asked NASA to allow him to go back into space to do research on the similarities between the effect of spaceflight and the aging process. He didn't have to go. Plainly, there was danger in his going, but he wanted to go for the pure adventure of it, to do new scientific research and to help renew America's space program as only he could. That is being forever young. You should be too, not just now, but throughout your lives. Your remaining forever young is not just good for you and for having fun in life, although that's really important, but it's also critical for the difficult world you have inherited. The 2018 world is complex and unsettled. It has issues and problems previous generations could not have imagined. Global terrorism, global warming, nuclear proliferation, and safeguarding privacy in the internet age, just to name a few. You will need to stay forever young in order to meet these and the many other challenges that are now your responsibilities. It's your turn now, class of 2018. Do great and good things and stay forever young. When you leave commencement today, celebrate hard with your class, as I know you will, with your that part I don't need to figure out, right? With your classmates, your teachers, and most of all, speaking as a parent and grandparent, with your parents and grandparents who are rightly proud of you today. This is their day too, so don't forget to congratulate and thank them too. Godspeed.